Welcome to MomoChess. I started this channel to focus on female and young kids playing chess. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. There are three main stages in a chess game. 1. The opening. 2. The middle game. And 3. The endgame. In this video, we will be talking about the endgames. Now, why are endgames so important? Endgames are important because you spend so much time focusing on the middle game that you don't have a lot of time in the end game. You might be up material, so you do not want to lose on time, do you? Now let's jump into these excellent endgame patterns. We're going to start with some basic and beginner endgame checkmate patterns. So the first one is a staircase mate. And we're gonna have this position on the board. Okay, so do you see what move is best here? Well, as you can see, the queen on a3 is cutting off the third file. So that means that the king can't go to the third file or past it. Just imagine the queen on a3 controls a bridge of crocodiles waiting to munch up the king. I don't think you would want to go across a bridge full of crocodiles, would you? So you would go back and turn the other way. But there's going to be a crocodile trailing behind you. So that's the other queen here. So we go queen b4 check. Now, as I told you, the king can't go to the third file or past it. So he has to go back. And the same thing repeats. Notice when white goes queen b6, her queen is protected by the other queen, so the queen doesn't get captured. We go king d7. Try to figure out what move is best next. The next best move is queen a7. Check. We have the same pattern occurring a few times. Okay, now this is checkmate. Why? Because the last file is cut by the queen on b8, and the seventh file is cut by the queen on a7. Now, notice that every single move was a check. Because if you didn't check, there will be a risk of stalemating, which we don't want, right? We don't want a stalemate. Okay, let's move on to the next checkmate pattern. Okay, so this one's a similar one, except we're going to do it this way. This way. So sideways, okay? Instead of going up. So we go queen e4, and we're going to check. Same thing, cutting off the lines, except it's the files, so going up, okay? So now we're cutting up, and the king is going this way. Okay, and now we reach our final position. Can you spot where the checkmate is? Indeed, if you spotted queen h3, you're already beginning to master these endgames. Only in 2 examples. Wow, you must be crushing these. Okay. Now we're going to do around the same thing, except the queen is going to be replaced with the rook. So why is this a bit harder? Well, the rook can't always protect the queen. So we have to find a way. Okay? That's why we're going to learn. So the best move here is queen a5. Notice the queen on a5 protects the rook on b4, and it also gives checks to the black king. King c6. We got rook b6, the same thing, just a bit different. Just the same moves though, going up and up and up with the rook and the queen. And let's see if you can spot the checkmate. It's the same thing, except the queen is just placed with the rook, so it's basically the same pattern. Except do you remember that a queen is a mixture of a rook and a bishop, which means that the rook can't control diagonals. That's the only difference to the queen. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So this one's an exercise, and we're going to practice how to checkmate. Because I think you guys are already crushing these endgames, so I'm sure you can solve these easy ones. So, where shall we go on this board? Feel free to pause the video and have a little think. Well, so the best move here is rook c4. Okay? Now, why? We're going sideways again, but it's not queen and queen, it's rook and queen. Let's go back and see what would happen if we play this move. Queen to b5, let's see. Ooh, this is a blunder. Can you spot why? Okay, so the king can actually take our queen on b5. So if he takes our queen on b5, then we can still win, but it's just way harder, okay? And we're here to learn an easier checkmate, okay? So we don't want to do that. And let's go for the one that we just said. Rook c4. And then he'll play king d5. Okay. And then where do you think you will go now? Remember, we're going sideways. So what you learned from the previous examples, what do you think we should do? Okay, if you spotted the move, queen d3, you are right. As you can see, the king will go to e5, and this is the same thing again. The queen is cutting this line, and the rook is cutting this line. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing again, and we're going to check with the rook, and we're going to repeat same thing. So we'll go queen f3, and then we'll check. Okay, now, where would you go? Where would you go? This is one of the final positions. So have a look. Where is the checkmate? That's the only hint I can give you. The next move is checkmate. So where would you go? If you spotted queen h3, well done, because this is the checkmate. As you can see, the queen will be cutting off the rank that the king's on, and the rook is right next to it, and the queen is protecting the rook. So it is checkmate. Now, we're going to learn something similar. Okay, we're just going to recap a bit on this, okay? So, rook a3. Actually, this is another type of pattern. It's called the ladder mate. Okay, you will see why it is called ladder mate in a few moves. So the rook checks the king goes up. Now the queen checks the king, and the king goes up again. As you can notice, the king has no choice but to go directly up, okay? So we're going to check again, then we're going to check again, and keep on doing the same thing. Now, can you see the checkmate here? If you spotted queen c7, well done. Round of applause. Okay. As you can see, the queen and the rook just went together and zigzagged the whole board. Okay, so now we're gonna have a look at another ladder mate pattern. Now this one is a small trick for black to force a stalemate. Now a stalemate is when the king is not in check, but it has no squares to go, and there are no other pieces left on the board. So let's have a look at one example. Okay, so this looks very familiar, a ladder mate checkmate. So let's try. Okay, we know this. Easy peasy, don't you think? Okay, king, queen, 5, king, ba, and oh no! Why is this a blunder? Okay, well, as you can see in my last example, this is a stalemate. Well, why is this a stalemate? Okay, so there are no more black pieces on the board. The king is not in check, and it has nowhere to go. Look, can't go here. You can't go anywhere. Okay, so next. So what should we have done? We should have gone king d2. Why king d2? It looks like a weird move. We can checkmate with a queen and rook. We don't have to bring our king like in a queen checkmate or a rook checkmate. There's no need. Well, this is called a waiting move. A waiting move is when you wait and force the opponent to make a move. This is also known as zugzwang. Okay? So now the king has to go to its only square, and now we do the simple ladder mate that we know. And checkmate. So we have the last two examples. This one's a rook shuffle, okay? We're going to shuffle our rooks just as the way we shuffled our queens. But remember, rooks can't protect each other unless they are on the same file or line. So we'll see what we will have to do. We will do the same thing. Oh, wow. Now, why is king c4 the best move? Well, if you go here, it's not good, right? Because the king can just take us. We're still winning, but it is harder. So we don't want to go there. Instead, we want to go rook h2. Now why? Well, you're going to move your rooks to the other side of the board. Because remember, the king can only move one square at a time, which means that the king is super slow, as slow as a snail. So we can move our rooks as fast as a car to the other side of the board, and it will take so long for the king to get to our rooks. So we do, and now he attacks our rook, and we do the same thing with our other rook. And now we do the same thing as we did with our queens. Oh, here it comes again. If we went rook here, what would happen? If we went rook here, let's see. Oh, he would simply just take us. So we do not want to do this. Okay? We would want to do this. We're going to maneuver our rook to the other side again, and this time we will be in time to deliver checkmate without having to move our rook to the other side of the board again. Okay, let's have a look at the last example. We're going to do an exercise on the thing, on the mate we just learned about. Okay, so let's have a look at this position. What do you think is the best move? Firstly, let's have a look at a common mistake made. A common mistake made was you probably would have gone rook g4. Now, why is this a bad move? Because as you can see, this rook is cut from the king. So that means that the king is blocking the rook, which means that the rook doesn't have the ability to control the file. So what do? We need to move our king out of the way. If you spotted this move, well done, because we haven't really learnt about it, have we? Okay? So you must have been an expert and just figured out that move by yourself. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to check, right? So we're going to check. And then he's going to try to, take our rooks. And we're not going to allow that. So we're going to go on to the other side. Remember, on to the other side. Let's do that. On to the other side. It's going to go there. And then we're going to move our other rook on to the other side. Okay, he's going to come back and chase us. So we're going to move our rook up to check. And our other rook up to check. This time we're going to be in time again to deliver this final checkmate. So, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you find this helpful, please check out my other Endgame videos and you will learn a lot. I promise you. Okay? See you next time.